Hey everybody, how's it going? Today, let's take a detailed look at this very unique and quite rare 1959 Chevrolet Biscayne. The Biscayne was essentially GM's base model lineup below the Bel-Air and the Impala. It came with a bunch of your standard frills, including a standard 6-cylinder engine, but you could option it out with your choice of V8 models for a little bit of extra performance. This one is actually a retired patrol car, which I believe was with the Oregon State Highway Patrol. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth view of the Biscayne. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, and show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior, as well as exterior. And before we begin, I'd like to extend a big thanks and special shout out to RK Motors, located in Charlotte, North Carolina, for allowing me to come out and film this beautiful 1959 Chevrolet Biscayne Duntov X-Patrol vehicle. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. It's a beautiful deep blue metallic exterior with a complementary blue and gray vinyl interior. The standard transmission on the Biscayne was a 3-speed manual mounted on the column, otherwise known as 3 on the tree. And on more expensive models, you can also option it out to a 2-speed automatic or a 4-speed manual. Beautiful sound. You can just feel the power of that massive V8 rocking the car back and forth. As far as drivability, Biscaynes were very simple. Came with manual steering and manual brakes, full painted, thin-rimmed, large steering wheel with grips on the back, and just your basic information going across the speedometer cluster, but we'll highlight that a little bit later in the video. So, we're going to flip on the headlamps, as well as the optional hazards. Of course, you have manual windows. And we'll go check out the exterior, shall we? The Chevrolet Biscayne was first introduced in 1958 as Chevrolet's new value-priced leader. Initially, the Biscayne was a slight step up to the current value leader, the 1958 Chevrolet Del Rey, which only lasted a year as its own standalone model. After '58, the Biscayne would then take the Del Rey's place as representing the brand's lowest-priced full-size automobile and would remain so in the US until 1972. This example we have here is a perfect representation of the Biscayne's initial performance potential, taking a minimalist car, packing a whopping V8 and going fast, very fast for the day. After all, who would expect a base model Chevrolet designed for basic transportation and people hauling to pack a V8 capable of topping out around 135 miles an hour? Of course, this ideology has been seen with many cars over the years with dealer performance packages, factory special options, and more. In 1959, the Biscayne was completely redesigned with an all-new fresh look at the height of the massive fin cars of the late 1950s. Initially available as both a 2- and 4-door pillar sedan, the redesign puts it right alongside the elegant lines and curves of the more upscale Bel-Air and Impala models, but without the chrome-intensive styling. Biscaynes had a touch of bright work throughout themselves, mostly concentrating across the front and rear clips, but nowhere near the flash of an Impala. They were most known for their fleet services, or for those wanting an affordable full-size car. Options like power windows and other luxury amenities were not available at the Biscayne as they were exclusive to higher-priced counterparts. And while most cars came standard with the 235.5 cubic inch Blue Flame straight 6, Chevrolet also offered your choice of 283 cubic inch V8 or the top line 348 cubic inch V8. A Sangenau 3-speed manual transmission was standard, as I touched on earlier, while you can also upgrade it to a 4-speed manual with Hurst shifter and lower final drive ratio, in addition to the 2-speed Powerglide automatic for seamless cruising. This Biscayne is a special one, and by special I mean rare and fast. In fact, there are only 40 of these examples known to have been produced by well-known GM performance engineer Zora Arkus-Duntov, who joined General Motors in 1953 and was subsequently well known for molding the Chevrolet brand, specifically the Corvette, into a true performance icon that could rival the best from Europe. Just a few of his contributions were the introduction of Chevy's small block V8 to the Corvette in 55, the Duntov high-lift camshaft, fuel injection for the Corvette in 57, and introducing four-wheel disc brakes for the first time on a mass-produced domestic car. So back to the Biscayne. These patrol cars were produced at GM's Oakland, California assembly plant, where this one in particular would be donned with more of an undercover look. With the original dark blue color code, large radio antenna, black wall tires, and polished dog disc wheel covers, they looked especially aggressive compared to the standard cars. The signature styling of 59 included the pseudo-raised intake ports embedded in the hood, quad headlamps and polished bezels, and prominent chrome bumper with stainless steel trim. While the rear features fins that stick out horizontally, contrast to Cadillac's massive vertical units and look more like wings than fins, with an accent line in the middle and polished stainless. The tail lamps were also one piece for this year only. All other years aside from 1972 featured twin detached lamps on each side. Backup lamps are located in the bottom of the rear bumper. So let's diverge for a moment and talk about the true heart of the Duntov Biscayne. It features the optional 348 cubic inch V8 with a thorough makeover. Duntov began by keeping the original bore and stroke factory spec, but increased the compression ratio from 9.5 to a lofty 11.1. This was achieved using solid lifters, one-off Duntov designed camshaft, heavy-duty main and connecting rod bearings, and higher compression pistons. That's not all though. The engine also has a unique intake manifold, single 4-barrel carburetor, and single snorkel air cleaner. These upgrades turned a mild-mannered 250 horsepower family sedan to a potent 305 horsepower muscle car, a 55 horsepower increase over the standard cars with the 348. Peak horsepower is available at 3600 RPM, while peak torque remained the same at 355 pound-feet, but was achieved at 3600 RPM, 800 RPMs higher than the standard cars. Max revolutions is 6,000 per minute. These modifications sacrificed a bit of off-the-line acceleration in favor of higher top speed. 0 to 60 times were still a respectable 7.4 seconds, while 0 to 100 miles an hour is achieved in 18.8 seconds. Top speed with the optional 3.36 rear axle ratio was 135.5 miles an hour, or 129 miles an hour with the standard 3.7 axle. Now what's even more impressive is that this giant family sedan, as far as performance is concerned, was actually being compared to some of the most exclusive European automobiles available at the time. Motor Trend actually did a little bit of a first drive review back in 1958 and actually compared the new Duntov Biscayne police car to the Ferrari 250 GT. In comparing acceleration times, obviously the Chevy was a few seconds slower than the Ferrari, but it actually posted a higher top speed with its axle ratios. The Ferrari's top speed was around 125.6 miles an hour with a 4.57 axle ratio, which is about 10 miles an hour slower than this particular equipped Biscayne, and giving law enforcement a little bit more of cutting edge. This Biscayne features body-colored 15-inch steel wheels with polished dog-dish hubcaps with the flag logos, and while originally wrapped in bi-sply tires, this example has been fitted with modern Goodyear 215/70 radial tires. Manual steering provides a direct mechanical link between the driver and the road, while 11-inch drum brakes provide stopping power at each corner. While standard cars didn't have power brakes as standard, this Duntov patrol car featured the optional power assist units. According to the original road test, these highly durable metallic brakes were extremely resistant to fade and wear for better performance in higher demand scenarios. As far as the suspension, of course, patrol cars featured a strengthened setup that includes heavier coil springs with matching shocks and stronger rubber bushings. Not to mention a front stabilizer bar, roller-type front and rear wheel bearings of greater capacity, and a heavy-duty engine fan for better cooling. Overall length is 210.9 inches with a width of 79.9 inches and a height of 56 inches. Total curb weight, depending on how equipped, was between 3,700 and 3,900 pounds.
Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the interior of the Biscaynes were very basic. They didn't come with a whole lot of frills and stuff that you find in the Bel-Air and the Impala. And especially for this patrol model, you have full rubber flooring for ease of cleaning. Across the doors, full padded trim with some integrated designs, integrated armrests, and manual vent windows. The seats feature the same vinyl padding texture that you find on the doors. They're manual sliding via that little lever there, and have plenty of padding to them. And a better look at some of the rubber flooring is found throughout the vehicle. Park and brake and release located off to the left. And a full vinyl headliner with interior illumination. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. Gotta love the sound of that American muscle. So we're going to shut her up. Beautifully solid doors. The interior is very sparse. Being that many Biscaynes are basically built for fleet purposes, they don't have a whole lot of amenities like I mentioned earlier. The interior styling, though, is very similar to the Bel-Air and the Impala. Down below, it didn't come with a radio, so you have a standard radio delete plate, ashtray and lighter. Because this was a patrol car, it has a period correct Motorola CB radio. Also very cool. And just your basic gauges. Your speedometer, fuel, vehicle temperature, and your generator and oil light. Down below are your 2-speed wipers. And an expansive, beautifully painted dash. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So let's go and shut her down. And we'll check out the back seat. To gain access, typically, of cars of this era, you just grab it, flip it forward, it flips up and away to allow better entry and exit for the rear passengers. And as you would expect, it's a large bench seat. I'm about 5'10". It's extremely easy to get into the back. And of course, plentiful amounts of legroom and modest headroom. It's also quite comfortable and you can get a great perspective of how massive these cars actually were when they were new. So we're going to check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we?
To open the trunk of the Biscayne, the lock is located right beneath the rear emblem. Now once you open the trunk, you'll find an absolutely huge 30 cubic feet of storage space, which is absolutely enormous, especially in today's terms, but it was pretty common back then. There is some storage space across either side and reaches all the way to the back seat. Your spare tire is located to the right with all of the jacking and tire changing equipment. Not to mention something pretty neat, some of the original articles from back in the day.
Standard lockable glove box with 2 little drink coasters. And not to mention your air vents down below to let fresh air in both sides, activated by these little pull knobs.
This Duntov Biscayne is a wonderful example of when creativity and performance yields something no one would expect. A true sleeper with a sinister stance. While a Biscayne may not have the plush, flashy look of the Impala, it sure does make an awesome performer in the right hands with high horsepower and relatively lightweight.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed this detailed look at the beautiful 1959 Chevrolet Biscayne. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.